Now that you've received your new Diablo twin wire arc machine, it's time to assemble everything and get it ready for spraying. The first step is to assemble the optional running gear, which makes the unit portable. You do this by lifting up the unit with the lifting ring here that's attached to the power source and applying the wheels. All of this is enclosed in the simple instructions in the box. This is what the front end should look like. It's important that the bar is leaning back this way because in the future here we will be wrapping some spare power cables around it. The second thing is to get out the wire feeder from the box and to place it up on top of the unit right here. There's actually a cutout underneath the wire feeder for the lifting ring here so it all fits together snugly. So let's do that. And this is how it should look whenever it's ready to go. And now we will take open the next box and sort out the power cables and place them where they go on the unit. Okay, once you open the accessories box, this is what you'll find inside. You have the gun head assembly and the coaxial cables and the control cables. You'll have a negative and a positive power cable to go from the power unit to the wire feeder, and you'll also have a control cable which controls the operations between the power and the wire feeder. And also inside you'll also find a CD with a complete owner's manual on it as well. So the first thing you want to do is to make things simpler is to grab this assembly right here and kind of about every foot or two put a tie wrap right here to wrap these cables comfortably together, and it'll keep them from getting in the way, and it'll make just one solid unit, and then it'll be much easier to work with as time goes on. And so once you get tie wraps on here, just cut all this, and then we'll snip off the excess here to keep it from snagging on your hands or anything. These particular cables will go into the very front of the unit here in just a second, but first let's put the power cables on. We're going to connect these from the bottom side of the unit right here to the back of the wire feeder. Now, for the purposes of most twin wire arc spraying, with the possible exception of aluminum, you want to use this outside post over here, the outside positive post. There's two of them on the machine, but let's use this one right here, which is the best. It has the most power to it. And let's snug this down pretty good. And I usually like to put some of the excess coiled up right here around this area right here just to kind of keep it out of the way. And then I bring it all the way back here to the back. It's hard to mess up. It's color coded. And then I take this particular connector and shove it in right here and give it a good shove, and it kind of twists and locks into place. And then we're going to do the same thing with the negative terminals on the other side as well. Okay, next you want to connect the control cable from the power unit to the wire feeder. There's only one way it can go on. It's got a slot cut into it right here so it lines up with the plug. So line that up and just screw it on. And you're through with the front panel. And so bring the excess back to the back and attach it back here in the back panel where it says the RC1 power supply. And again, it's lined up with a tab so that there's only one way it can go on. And now you've got the power connected from the power source to the wire feeder. And so all we have to do now is attach the gun head assembly to the wire feeder. Now, this is pretty easy to do. The two coaxial cables connect through the front part right here, and you can actually see the holes that they go in. And there is a thumb screw right here which loosens that area up. And so line up your gun and make sure that the left cable is going into the left side of the gun, the wire feeder. And sometimes it helps to put a little small amount of WD-40 or just lick it a little bit to shove it into the hole right here. And it should bottom out in here. And then tighten the thumb screw down to keep it securely in place. And then we want to do that on the other side as well. It's important that you push these all the way into the cavity that goes there. You'll notice that there are two O-rings on these coaxial cable assemblies. The reason they're there is that air actually feeds up through these coaxial cables and keeps them cool during the spraying process as well. So then once the two coaxial cables are connected, then all we have to do left is to assemble the trigger control assembly. Again, it's slotted, so there's only one way that it'll go on. And then the air hose is mounted right up here at front. Just kind of snug this down a little bit. And you should be ready to go. Now we're going to hook up the power source, and I'll finish tying up, putting a few more cable ties on this right here just to kind of keep it all assembled together so that the wires are not dangling everywhere. And then we'll assemble and attach the power cable coming into the power source and the air supply in the back. Okay, the last two things to do to prepare your Diablo twin wire arc system for spraying is to attach air and the power to the rear of the unit. There's a regulator that controls all the air supply at the rear of the unit. Most people take a long nipple, half-inch pipe nipple, and attach it to the rear end here with a quick disconnect coupling on the end. This makes it easier to access it. You can put it up here close, but it makes it a little cumbersome to bring the air hose through this slot here in between the wires and hook it up. So it's best to hook it up out here. Whenever you do this, you want to make sure that you do not choke the air supply down. It's best to run from here over to your air supply at least a 3/4 or 1 inch air hose. This unit takes a nice combination of volume and pressure to make it work properly. So you don't want to choke it down with a 1/4 or a 3/8 inch air hose or something like that. So when you do the power supply, it's connected here at the back, and the best way to do it is to get an 8 gauge 4 conductor SO cable and to feed it through here, get you a qualified electrician to wire this up for you. It's going to be wired up here, and I just want to point out that this works on just about any three-phase electrical power, but you have to set which one it is that's in your shop. It'll do 230, 460, or 575 volts, but the jumpers are in this little package right here, and they have to be installed up here to whichever three-phase power source that you're going to use. And once that's all done, the best thing to do is to attach whatever common four-prong heavy-duty connector that is common in your shop to the other end of the SO cable, and be sure and give yourself plenty of cable right here. You're going to want to be able to wheel it over to the job site and maybe even spray out in the rolling mill or wherever you're going to be using the thing here. So you want to be sure to have plenty of cable to accommodate your needs. The last step in order to prepare your Diablo twin wire arc system and to be ready to spray is to load the wire. It's pretty simple to do. Just grab your spool. This unclicks from here, this little stopper, and load the wire so that the curvature is heading into this inlet. Click that back on. And then undo your wire, and I find that it helps to straighten out the piece just a little bit, take some of the curvature out of the wire, and then cut it at just a little bit of a slight angle, like so. And then what we're going to want to do is open the sidewall here of the wire feeder and feed the wire in through this little inlet guide right here, all the way through here until it reaches here. Now, the best thing to do is to take the tension off of the two guide rolls right here, and with your fingernails you'll see it come through here, right here. Just gently poke it into the next inlet guide right here, and all the way through the second set right here, and gently push it in there. And at that point, then all you want to do is lock the spring tensions knobs back on top again, and from this point forward we'll let the gun do all of the work here from that point forward. And so it's loaded and ready to go. Then all you have to do is touch the jog button right here, which will feed the wire all the way through the coaxial cable up to the front tip of the gun without any electrical power attached to it, so there's no danger of it arcing out. So you press this button right here and it will start the process and feed it out. When you see that wire exit the front of the gun, then it's ready to spray. You can just snip off the ends of it here and it's ready to go. If there's any problems whatsoever, sometimes on new wire it might get hung up on one of the contact tips here, on the entry to the contact tips, so you can just pop them out and feed the wire into it and then put it all back together again. And then you'll be ready to spray. So our next section we'll talk about actually a tour of the gun and how it all operates.